Hello. Today is Tuesday, June 16th. Well, day before yesterday, we had our first assembly live in 3 months. I enjoyed seeing all of you that were there. Of course, many of our members were not around because of the coronavirus and everything that's going on with it. But it was good to have our body back together. I noticed that a few people commented on the fact that our struggles were pretty obvious with having a live feed, but I think we'll have that resolved by this week. This coming Sunday, we're going to meet again. We're again this Sunday going to have a service at 8:30 and one at 10:30. Unlike last week, this week you won't need to sign up. We think that we kind of got a feel for how this is going to go. So you can choose to come at 8:30 or 10:30. You don't need to tell us ahead of time, and you won't obviously need to reserve a seat. We will simply ask you to maintain a 6-foot distance between yourself and others that aren't a part of your party, but we want you to come to worship with us this coming week. And I'm reminded, as we think about getting together, those that can't, those that choose not to because of the virus, this is a critical thing. And as I think about our body choosing to come back together, I understand that it can be a serious problem, a serious struggle within each of us to try to do what is safe. And I'm reminded of the passage from 1 Corinthians 12, where Paul was writing about all of us being a part of the body. And he says in chapter 12, starting in verse 12, the human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. I think that's an interesting idea, that we're all part of one whole body. In America, in the year 2020, we seem to be quite focused on individualism, on me standing alone, at most with my immediate family. Whereas 2,000 years ago, when the Bible was finished, the concept was much more community, much more the concept of being one part of a whole. Maybe we think of ourselves a bit too much rather than thinking of the whole. And in this, Paul says some very interesting thing. He says that even if some are Jews, some are Gentiles, some are slaves, and some are free, but we've all been baptized into one body by one Spirit, and we all share the same Spirit. He goes on further, starting in 18, but our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part right where He wants it. The body of Christ, the church, He says He has us where He wants us. How strange a body would be if it had only one part. Yes, there's many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, I don't need you. And the hand can't say to the feet, I don't need you. And then he tells us something that I think is so appropriate for today. As we look at worshiping together and we look at individual rights, individual needs, it's important for us to listen carefully to the encouragement from the Apostle Paul from 2,000 years ago when it comes to how we consider ourselves part of the body. And he says this, in fact, some parts of the body that seem weakest and least important are actually the most necessary. And the parts that we regard as less honorable are those we clothe with the greatest care. So we carefully protect those parts that should not be seen, while the more honorable parts do not require the special care. So God has put the body together such that extra honor and care are given to those parts that have less dignity. This makes for harmony among the members, so that all the members care for each other. And if one part suffers, all the parts suffer with it. If one part is honored, all the parts are glad. I think about just a very few of our very precious members that struggle with health issues so badly and are so susceptible to things like viruses, especially of breathing and of the whole lungs and that system that can get inflamed so easily. And yet I heard from them, they wanted to be with us so badly. And so as a result of that, it seemed like the important thing to do was to offer safety for those, the weakest of our members, so that people that wanted to come together could do that with the feeling that we, as the other parts of the body, were taking care of them. So they kept their masks on the entire service. They kept their distance from other people, and you could see the pain in their eyes as they wanted to hug everybody, but they couldn't because they needed to make sure that their own health was kept safe. And yet there they were. And I loved it when the other members were there to support them. Some of our weakest members had been almost prisoners in their own homes, so they yearned to get out. And I appreciate so much the other parts of our body that came and endured some of the rigors of, if you will, us taking care to make sure that everyone was safe. The taking of temperatures and the making sure that people kept their distance. We have seen even this week what happens when you don't take those special ideas of care. With the church in Northeast Oregon, where they discovered all of the cases of the virus, all because they didn't take care. Oh, we love you, and we want you to be together. We want to be able to have that eyeball to eyeball, where it's not just virtual meeting, but it's actual meeting. But I want to guarantee you, we're not going to do something to on purpose neglect to care for your health, because we're all part of one body. I hope to see you this coming Sunday. Thank you so much for listening today. God bless.